What's up, residents? Jacob here. So guess what? Kong's gonna be nearly the same size as the big G-Man in Godzilla vs. Kong. But you already know that, don't you? If you haven't heard about the leaked footage or have been ignoring everyone telling you that Kong will not be baby size in his upcoming battle with Godzilla, well, now you know. But even with us knowing this is indeed the truth, what we don't know is how the hell Kong managed to triple in size and grow to dwarf both of his parents and all his ancestors before him. In this video, we have 3 potential theories as to how this has happened. One theory coming from one of you, a resident of Dangerville. There's not much lore on this question, so most of this will be coming from my own thoughts, and I'll do the best I can to keep it in the realms of possibilities for the Monsterverse. Remember to follow us on all our social media hoopla, and let's get to it. This whole time, we've been judging Kong and the other Titans based on Godzilla's age. Godzilla being from the Permian Age in Earth's history, hundreds of millions of years ago. But what if we were wrong? What if, at least Kong, ages much more naturally? Within the graphic novel prequel to Kong Skull Island, called The Birth of Kong, we've seen Kong's birth and his parents' demise. While they weren't around for long in this story, we got a good look at the ape's parents. We've seen them before, but not in their living forms. The Kong-like skeletons that the crew stumbles upon during the movie Skull Island were indeed Kong's parents. Analyzing the bones tells us that Kong's parents were of similar size to his own at the time of Monarch's first voyage to Skull Island in the early 1970s. So let's say that Kong in the year 1973 was around the same age as his parents when they were brutally killed by the Skullcrawler horde. Still juveniles, still growing. We don't know the age at which these fictional gorillas could breed, but for this theory, let's try to believe them able to have offspring at younger ages. So now, 50 years after the events of Skull Island, Kong has grown much older than his parents and any of his kind before. With the Skullcrawler threat now diminished, he is able to do something his family and clan could not before him. Continue growing. Perhaps the Kongs grow like reptiles today, which continue to grow all the way until the day they die. So in this theory, Kong may be the oldest, largest, and most powerful Kong ever, due to no more natural threats. And his species ages much more like normal wildlife on our planet. Definitely faster than any of the Titans. No more than a few hundred years instead of a few hundred million. But now let's get to the next theory that was brought up to me by a resident of Dangerville over on our Facebook page. Shout out to Lazar. This theory could just be my favorite yet, and the most likely conclusion to why Kong has rapidly grown in a relatively small amount of time when you take into account the more realistic side of the Monsterverse. It, just like the previous theory, takes real-life biology into play a bit. And I think most of us prefer the Monsterverse to be more centered in reality. Until King of the Monsters fucked that up. What if Kong and his species grows as large and as powerful as they have to be in order to face whatever threat is smacked down in front of them? Think about it. Kong's parents and his clan were all around the same size as the Kong we seen in the movie. And they faced the same threat, the Skullcrawlers. Outside of these monsters, the Kongs had no other natural predators, so they never needed to adapt or evolve in order to keep their species on top of the food chain, only enough to combat the Skullcrawlers. Perhaps the Kongs were even smaller before the arrival of the Skullcrawlers, and they had to adapt and grow to their sizes of around 100 feet. Overall, this was just an ideal size that would help them defeat the majority of younger and smaller Skullcrawlers with relative ease, and give them a fighting chance at surviving the bigger ones. Once our Kong killed the big one, the Skullcrawlers were no longer Kong's primary threat. Maybe the generation before and every generation leading up to Kong's had to grow to combat a new threat. It makes sense within the lore of the Monsterverse and within reality. real-life animals evolve and adapt all the time in order to survive. So can you guess what would become the next biggest threat to his and Skull Island's existence? Yeah, you'd want to grow too. This last theory was once what I really thought would cause Kong to grow, and that's outside influence, whether by humans or some unidentified power source deep underneath Skull Island. Over time though, the more natural and based in reality ideas became much more interesting to me, which probably means this last theory is what is actually going to happen. Especially after some recent leaks regarding Godzilla vs. Kong, but we won't get into that. Perhaps humanity developed technology powerful enough to juice up Kong. We know that Monarch has been going back to the island quite often, and there's even lore stating that they have their very own base on the island now. With Godzilla and the Titans becoming worldwide threats, it's natural to think humans would attempt to force the most closest monster to us, that being Kong, to grow to crazy new sizes, performing tests and harsh experiments on him in the hopes that the ape would do our work for us. Now, I've never met any Kong personally, but something's telling me trying to force Kong to do anything is kind of a bad idea. There could also be some sort of Titan-creating power source under Skull Island. Perhaps a massive batch of radiation that Kong somehow stumbles upon, making his growth explode, but we really just don't know. These are all just theories. There's no information regarding this topic, but it's still a topic that continues to be brought up left and right within the Godzilla and Kong fandoms to this day. So why not have some fun with it? As much as I would personally love to see Godzilla vs. Kong take a more natural route with its direction like Godzilla 2014 and even Kong Skull Island, my guess is that the theories based less in reality will probably be the outcome. But there's only one way to find out, residents. Wait and watch the goddamn movie. Alright residents, so that was a pretty fun video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If any of you have any more theories that you would like to share and bring up, have at it down in the comments, and if I see a cool one, maybe we can work on making a video on it. But anyway, it's been a pleasure. I thank you all so much. Don't forget to share this video with your friends to see what they have to think about this interesting topic. And I'll see you next time, everyone. Peace out.